I've been riding my bike no-handed since I was a kid, and I always thought I was pretty good at it.
Then I met John Kohan.
If no-handed cycling was an Olympic event, John Kohan would have a shot at the gold. At least once a week, this 50-something-year-old Kankakee native rides the full length of the north side lakefront bike path, from Hollywood Avenue to Navy Pier and back. 16 miles, no hands. But the truth is, it's not the distance that's most impressive. It's this. Because remember, no hands means no brakes. And it also means you can't change gears before you climb a hill. Though your hands are free to help out your legs. John Kohan says he started down this path about 8 years ago. He was unemployed for a stretch and lived a couple blocks off the lake.
I just started riding no-handed a little bit, and I was bored, and I thought, well, let me see if I can make the distance further. And once I made the distance, you know, a few blocks or more than a few blocks, then I said, well, maybe I can go around this corner. And once I went around a corner, it like sort of opened up a whole thing.
I began to wonder if John takes the same route every time. Do you take the same route every time?
Oh, no, I take a different route all the time. There's a limited amount of paths out here, but I piece it together in different ways and repeat things and then add new sections and new loops. I try to go off the path. I like to get off the concrete and sometimes go across the grass and catch dirt paths. I like to find interesting corners and anything that's a ramp that goes up or down or turns or anything like that. It's kind of like extra texture.
Now, if you've ever been on the lakefront bike path, you know that part of the texture is the crush of people. John prefers to ride early in the morning when it's pretty empty, he says, and he won't ride no-handed at the busiest times.
I come within a few inches of people, but I've never nicked anybody yet.
And he insists that he will grab the handlebars before he nicks anyone. John had a chance to prove that to us while riding on this hill near the Field Museum. At the bottom, he found the tunnel full of people. Is there ever risk for the people around you?
Well, of course, but it's not just me. It's the people who are on the bikes that are holding onto the handlebars. There's inline skaters, there's dogs, there's kids. I am scanning from near to far the horizon. I'm trying to anticipate anyone within my sight and what they're going to do.
On this weekday afternoon, however, it's not the people that make it tough. It's the 14-mile-per-hour wind.
Because the wind is, I got to maintain some sort of speed, otherwise I can't stay afloat in the wind. The wind's pretty strong out here today, especially if I'm heading south and the wind's going that direction. Can you speed up a little bit? There you go.
Now, while it may be the challenges that keep this interesting, John says his favorite times are when he's got the path to himself. Then it's almost like a meditation.
When the weather conditions are real calm and there's nobody out on the path and it's just me, I can just let my mind wander. It's almost like the bike is, there's no driver. I mean, the bike's going on by itself. You know, I'm just kind of there for the amusement of the bike.
One thing about long-distance no-handed biking, it's kind of a private achievement. People may see you riding, but they probably think you just let go of the handlebars. John says he doesn't know anyone else who does this, but he'd like to.
I bet there's people who can do it even better than me. I haven't met them yet, and I don't know of them. Maybe by doing this little piece on TV, I'll come in contact with some people who can challenge me to this.
Now, for the purpose of shooting this story, we couldn't let John ride continuously. We wanted to test him at some of the best, toughest spots on the lakefront. How do we know that he can really ride the full 16 miles no-handed? Well, ever the thorough journalists, we mounted a handlebar cam on my bike, and I took off with him down the path.
All right, lead on.
But there was only one problem. We ran out of time. But I'm willing to go out on a journalistic limb here. Based on what I've seen, the distances I saw John ride and the tough situations I watched him navigate, I'd bet my handlebars that he can and does ride the full circuit.